Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend DG Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
Hi, this is Dan Jurgens, and you are listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Diggity dank.
Hello and welcome back to another week of the Nightwing News. So close to 200. I am Phil. Joining me, as always, it is.
I'm Kristen.
And for episode 199, we're going to cover Teen Titans 12, 13, 14, and 15 from 1997. Show these young punks how it's done. But yes, as you heard, Mr. Dan Jurgens in the beginning, written by Dan Jurgens, the man who brought us out of the Rick Grayson era. Praise be his name.
Yeah, but some of the art is by George.
Yes. Well, yeah, how are you going to do Titans without, well, back then, how are you going to do Titans without George? All right, so, yes, like I said, well, last time we were recording a little out of order, so we haven't recorded the previous episode about the new issues, which we will, and then, yes, 200 is next week, so that'll be a big one.
That.
Wow. What?
I had the comic book open and the cat flipped it shut.
Alrighty, so again, well, another behind the scenes. Yeah, we just recorded like 2 days ago, so there's like no new Nightwing news or any big goings on. Show just ended, so
yes.
Although I see people keep saying they're like, oh well, hopefully, James Gunn will include Nightwing in some way, shape, or form in the new DC movies. So
we'll see. Only time will tell.
Yes. All right. All right. So should we get to these issues?
Let's do it.
All right. So hold on. Bring up some synopses here. Yeah, because kind of some flashbacks. Yeah, we'll get to this. All right. So Teen Titans. Saying it's only volume 2, so I'm guessing they don't count new Teen Titans. So just anything called Teen Titans is only volume 2.
Yeah, I think they count New Teen Titans as its own thing since it had the new in it.
Yep. So Teen Titans Volume 2, number 12, September 1997. Titans, Then and Now, Part 1 of 4. Writer and penciler on this one, Dan Jurgens. Inkers, George Perez, Gil Kane, and Dick Giordano. Colors, Gregory Wright, Rick Taylor, and Digital Chameleon. Letterers, Richard Starkings and Comic Craft. And editors, Dana Curtin and Eddie Berganza. So lots of people.
Oh, wait, pause for a second. That reminded me. Actually, there is some Nightwing news. The Eisner nominations came out today, and Nightwing got nominated again. For
nice.
Best Continuing Series, and Bruno Redondo got nominated then for, I think, covers and the art.
Just like last year? Yeah. So yeah, hopefully we'll bring home more rewards again this year, kids.
Yeah, although last year they also got nominated for Best Single Issue, and they didn't get nominated for that this year. But I bet when 105 comes out, maybe they'll get nominated for that for next year.
Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah. It wasn't that nomination for that Sideways issue where it just kept going across. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So the original Teen Titans, Dick Grayson, Roy Harper, Garth, and Wally West meet up in the mountains of northern Maine. Grayson explains to the others that their old benefactor, Lauren Jupiter, has been kidnapped, and the clues all point to a place known as the Cardi boarding school. They approach the school and find it dark, abandoned, and surrounded by a strange green mist. As they approach the front door, they all simultaneously experience a flashback of a previously forgotten mission. And in the flashback, the original Teen Titans respond to an emergency call from the Cardi boarding school concerning some missing students. They meet a boy named Gerard, who tells them about the situation. While surveying the area, Wonder Girl discovers a strange purple substance on a tree limb. They enter the school and begin seeing bizarre ghostly apparitions. In the present, the Titans enter the closed down boarding school and see images of spectral, zombie like figures standing before them. Flash and Nightwing fight them hand to hand, and Tempest manages to isolate them with a blast of freezing water. They then proceed to the athletics hall and the indoor swimming pool. The Titans then experience another flashback, which is while investigating the school, each of the team members encounter phantasms who resemble their individual mentors Batman, Flash, Green Arrow, and Wonder Woman. Each of them in turn express great disappointment with their proteges, declaring them utter failures. In the present, the Titans try to make sense of the flashbacks, but up until now, none of them have had any memory of this lost case. They go to the back of the campus where they discover the old Titans helicopter. Inside the copter, they find Neil Richards bound and gagged. They untie him and tell Neil that Lauren Jupiter has been kidnapped. Tempest finds a note on the floor of the copter with latitude and longitude lines directing them towards Wyoming. Nightwing doesn't like this, but feels that they must follow the clues, even if it's a trap. He climbs into the cockpit and starts the helicopter. And in the flashback, the Titans have their final confrontation with their phantasm mentors and discover the true villain behind all of this, Hayes. Hayes is a student named Gerard Jupiter, the son of Lauren Jupiter. He is angry for being neglected by his father, who preferred instead to devote all of his attention to the Titans. By way of the strange purple gel that Wonder Girl exposed herself to earlier, he was able to create elaborate illusions, preying on the Titans' insecurities and their respective parental issues. The Titans have their final confrontation with Hayes at the top of a mountain peak. Kid Flash tries to grab a hold of him, but Hayes slips on the rain-slicked peak and falls into the ocean below. Aqualad dives after him in the hopes of rescuing him, but it appears as if Gerard Jupiter is dead. At the suggestion of Mr. Jupiter, Lilith uses her powers to hypnotize the Titans into forgetting about the incident. Jupiter believes this is for the best so that they would not have to deal with the anguish of their failure. In the present, the Titans take the chopper and follow the coordinates to Wyoming. When they get there, they find their younger selves, the original Teen Titans, standing ready to do battle with them. All right, so confession. I had never read this before. I wanted to read this story, so that's why I threw it on the list, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I've actually read these before because I randomly had one of them in paper copy, and so then I had the other ones. I had the other ones. I had purchased those digitally, but yeah, this is a deep cut. I feel like going with Mr. Jupiter. He doesn't get talked a lot about.
And Neil. I'm like, Neil, no, that's our old friend Mad Mod.
Yeah. I forgot that Mad Mod had a real name.
I know. So yeah, I mean, we got for 1997 Present Titans. That we got the flashbacks. We got everything. We got the chopper. We got.
So yeah, is that what Roy's outfit was like then?
Yeah.
He didn't have a mask?
No, he was basically working as like a spy and again, like remember he was running the Titans at the end of that last series. He was basically just like working for the government.
Yeah. I think the thing that threw me off the most is Roy. The way they drew Roy was very, I don't know, was very sort of clean cut and Boy Next Door and very similar to Wally. And that kept throwing me off because I think a lot of other artists, they draw Roy a little edgier, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Well, yeah, because again, here, I don't know if it's just because he was kind of working as a spy or whatever. He was more clean cut, but yeah, once we get to Devin Grayson stuff, he has drawn more disheveled.
Yeah. Yeah, so that kind of surprised me because I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it was Roy, obviously, but
Yeah.
I was kind of like, dang, Roy is so yeah, he looks different from how he usually looks.
Yes. And again, I mean, and once again, the whole thing with Donna not being here, I mean, this book had no control of it. That was like a Wonder Woman thing because I do remember this because she was dating Kyle Rayner at the time, and then they abruptly had to like end that whole thing. Because yes, that Donna, like they said, Donna's ex-wife and son are killed in a car accident. So
And that happened in Wonder Woman?
I think there's something, yeah, because I don't know if there was some kind of, I don't know if it was I can't remember if it was random or if there was a villain thing going on, but yeah, I know, because she was like appearing regularly in Kyle Rayner's Green Lantern, because they were dating. Then all of a sudden, she gets the phone call next issue. She's gone. She's split, and Kyle's like, I don't know if she's gonna ever come back, and she don't come back for a long time after he's got a new girlfriend and everything. So
Okay.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah,
That might.
because
That I'm trying to remember if that's the part two where what's that Wonder Woman film where basically they try to like erase Donna from like existence, and she gets brought back through Wally's memories. I think that might be that whole thing too.
oh yeah, because
Yeah,
wasn't that's a thing at the beginning of
yeah, because that's the thing
the
when she comes back and like she like meets up with Cal Rayner again. She's like, I basically don't remember most of our relationship. She's like, main thing I remember it's basically comes from Wally.
yeah.
So yeah, who knows? I don't know what Dawn is up to at this exact moment. So, but yes, that's why she's not there, kids.
Which was a bummer.
And it was interesting. This book was like 48 pages, and it's like this wasn't even the current Titans lineup, and it's like this whole issue there. You don't see any of the current Titans,
No.
which is fine with me, but yeah, we get the chopper. Did they? I'm trying to. I guess they never explained what happened to that chopper.
Well, they forgot because they got hypnotized, so they forgot about their chopper.
Yeah, that's never good, kids. I mean, I don't care what story, what fiction it is. Yeah, anytime you're hypnotized into forgetting something like this, that's not good.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Mr. Jupiter
I think
ends
Jupiter
up
just wanted to brainwash them to so they don't remember what a deadbeat daddy is or something.
yeah, he ends up looking really crappy in this one. Although I always thought it was kind of weird. Mr. Mr. Jupiter. It wasn't as weird in the 60s because I don't know, but all of the Teen Titans have mentors and stuff, so they don't need some random other dude
I wonder
popping up and
Yeah. I wonder if it was a weird thing where it's like they don't want they didn't want the mentors around every 2 seconds in the story, but they're like, "Oh, we can't let these kids just run around on their own. They need adult supervision." So they just like kind of gave them like a sponsor or whatever.
yeah. And I do think that Mr. Jupiter came in around the time that they started introducing some new Teen Titans that, when they were getting Lilith and stuff.
Yeah. We're trying to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the flashbacks and stuff, but I don't know, how did you feel about kind of like the bickering and stuff between the four of them? And it's just like, oh, well, Donna's not here to rein us in and stuff. And
So it felt like it got to be a little bit too much.
yeah, like it kept going too long. Yeah.
The thing that surprised me the most was actually in some of the later issues, how Wally was so against the new people. That seemed that seemed kind of extreme.
That's kind of on characterization though for Wally at the time, because like I know he had a problem with Kyle Rayner like early
Oh,
on
okay.
before they became friends, because he's like, oh, you just got handed that ring after Hal Jordan, who he considered like an uncle, like, went nuts and stuff. But with Wally, remember Wally's again just like the rest of them. He's been a superhero since he's been like 10 years old. So anyone just like steps in and tries to be a hero, he's like, you didn't earn it.
Yeah,
But that's what they were
that's
doing
true.
in the 90s. But I do like in the flashback when like Roy and Wally are like hitting on Donna. She's like, would you stop it? She's like, I'm not just like a piece of meat here waiting for you guys, like one of you guys to ask me out,
Yeah. Well, and I did think it was funny how Dick starts to say, okay, we should do this. And they're like, hey, you're not the leader. And he's like, okay, then what should we do? And they're like, okay.
Yeah, then who should be a leader?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on this, or should we get to the next one?
I would say, yeah, it was good. Idris, again, the sort of blast from the past in that is in some of the flashbacks. He's trying to he's definitely a little bit trying to recreate the 60s dialogue, the way they're like Robin-O, and she's like Ginchi.
Yeah, it's Fab, Kinshi, Daddy-O.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Lauren Jupiter was the benefactor of the original Teen Titans, making consistent appearances from Teen Titans 25 to Teen Titans 41. And then this was weird because he even says here in the final flashback where Robin ruminates, a few weeks before this case, we watched as a proud noble man was gunned down. No indication is provided as to who Robin is referring to.
Oh, they're not talking about. There's a case with the Titans that is about where somebody dies.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I figured it was that one.
Okay. An editor's note would have helped.
Again, it's a deep cut.
I know. All right, let's see. And I do like that. Like each issue is narrated by a different Titan, and yes, the first one was narrated by our boy Dick Grayson himself. So, all right. So part 2, Teen Titans number 13. Oh yeah, it's a Genesis crossover. Okay. October 1997. Then and Now part 2 for. Looks like same team here, except George Perez is doing all the inking this time. But they probably had extras because the first issue was 48 pages. So
yeah, it was long.
Titan.
There. Oh wait, here we go. Sorry, before you go on,
Yeah.
in the back of that first issue they're in, they have a Teen Titans profile and it has Dick. And it says, as years passed, the teen team underwent many permutations. Feeling responsible for the deaths of Dr. Arthur Swenson, a Nobel Peace Prize winner, the group gave up its superhero identities for a while and worked with Mr. Jupiter for the first time. Eventually, they returned to their hero guises.
So what, they worked out of costume then?
Yeah, so Robin does not appear as much in those issues. That's around the time that he goes to college. So there are a few issues where he's not so much in there. Oh, and then it says on the marital status, single, they were never married. So is that supposed to be a reference to Starfire?
I guess.
Oh, and real quick, I did think it was cool how the art style changed. Like the art style was different when they
for the
were back
flashbacks. Yeah,
that was top notch. Okay.
All right, so yeah, issue 13. Titans alum Nightwing, Arsenal, Flash, and Tempest stand before their younger versions of themselves, versions similar to what they looked like back when they were all members of the original Teen Titans. Both groups begin fighting one another, and the younger Titans taunt their older adversaries, citing the worst points of each of their respective careers. Kid Flash tells Wally that he is a disgrace to the legacy of Barry Allen. Robin tells Nightwing that he could never measure up to the Batman. Speedy reminds Arsenal of the years he spent as a drug addict, and Aqualad accuses Tempest of being secretly happy that Aqua Baby and Aqua Girl are dead so he could enjoy the spotlight. A few hours earlier, however, the real Teen Titans met up with Neil Richards outside the Cardi boarding school. He brought them up to speed with everything that had happened, including the appearance of Hayes and the disappearance of Lauren Jupiter. The kids powered to the T-Jet and take off for Wyoming, the last known whereabouts of the original Titans. En route, the kids continue to bicker with one another over recent events, particularly Risk and the Atom. When they arrive in Wyoming, they find several of their known adversaries ready to do battle with them. Vault of Dark Nemesis, Jugular of the Hassan Tail, and a Scion and one of his robotic sentries. The Titans begin fighting the villains, and Argent notices that Vault appears to be much more limber than she remembered. Suddenly, Omen arrives and reveals the truth of the situation. Hayes has used his powers to create illusions in the minds of all the Titans, forcing everyone to see their foe as someone else entirely. Once the truth is revealed, the illusions disperse and everyone apologizes for attacking one another. Like many before her, Argent finds herself smitten with Nightwing.
That's part of the description.
Yes, it says like many before her. Without warning, a dimensional aperture opens and giant tentacles emerge, grabbing Omen and taking her away. The Titans mobilize to get her back. They explore Hayes' realm. The Atom is the first to find Omen. So, yeah, that's part 2.
That's pretty thorough. So are some of these people, are they new for Teen Titans or?
I think these are all new characters except for the Atom.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Like, I mean, of course, Argent will go on to, be in Devin Grayson's run. But yeah, I think this is where she first appeared in this series. Yeah, the only one who I'm pretty sure wasn't new is the Atom, who got de-aged during 0 hour. So
okay, I was gonna say, yeah, because he's been around for a long time.
Yeah,
although he kind of looks older than them.
Yeah, I don't know if they started undoing some of that, but yeah, during 0 hour he got hit by something, and yeah, he started de-aging. So that's the thing. Yeah, like he was in the Justice League with like Barry Allen and the rest of them. So
yeah, I was gonna say he was.
And then yes, there in 1997, the Genesis event. There was like a whole thing with Darkseid and all that New God stuff. There was like a Genesis wave, and it like messed with people's powers for a while. That's how the Atom can grow into a giant now and shrink. So.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
With the.
But that's so weird, like when the Titans are fighting each other and like like Dick's like punching Argent because he doesn't know who she, it's her, and then the illusion drops. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was like, beating on you." She's like, "Oh, you can hit on me anytime." It's like, oh my, that's.
It was the 90s.
I guess. Yes, when we let our teenage girls run around in costumes that skimpy. That's right.
Wally, at least I didn't really like ruthlessly decking a teenage girl. It's like, I didn't know. Instead, I thought I was ruthlessly decking my teenage self.
Exactly. But it's like I'm always like, anytime there's like an illusion caster in a story, at some point, I'm always like, shouldn't you, by this point, shouldn't you be like, oh, hey, maybe what I'm seeing isn't there, or it's either someone else or it's a complete illusion. So shouldn't I ignore it?
Yeah, but how do you know? What if it's someone worse?
Well,
then
I guess
you wish you decked it harder.
Yeah, well, I guess the teenagers were going to come at them anyway, but.
Right. But yeah.
See, not a lot of notes.
Okay, so that to me seemed kind of weird, but you're saying that actually for the 90s that was pretty on point. Wally being.
Yeah, I mean, they beat it in some of the plot points into the ground in this story, but I mean, Yeah, like I said, Wally was kind of like that with Kyle Rayner, where it's basically like, I've been a superhero since I'm like 10. What do you think you're just gonna step in? Although you would think Wally would have more sympathy for like an actual like teenage heroes, like they're trying to start early.
Right.
Mm,
And when was Impulse on the Teen Titans?
it's like right after like they kick Dick out and Roy takes over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like
Oh, so Impulse already existed then.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because he was around since like 93 or 94. So yeah, he had been around.
Okay. I was thinking he was mostly a Young Justice person.
Yeah, no, no. Yeah, no, he was he was on the Titans with Roy and them.
Okay.
Hold on, lost my spot here. But yeah, no, I like I said, I'm actually glad I actually threw these on the list because I hadn't read these before, and I've been wanting to, especially since I saw it was like Dick and Wally and all them.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right. So part 3 is Teen Titans number 14, November 1997. Then and now part 3. Again, looks like same team, but this time Larry Stucker is helping George Inc. here. The Teen Titans and the original Titans split into pairs and begin exploring Hayes' compound in search of the villain. Risk and Tempest have a brief altercation with some armored guards, but they evade attack by diving into the sewage system. Risk believes that Hayes is using the compound's plumbing system to distribute the gas that produces his hallucinogenic effects. Both men begin suffering visions of their respective mentors, Aquaman and Lorne Jupiter, admonishing them. Meanwhile, the Flash and Prism begin exploring another section of the building. The darkness of the chamber starts to sap Prism's power and she begins to panic. Wally is taken aback when he finds himself suddenly wearing the costume of his late mentor, Barry Allen. His own uniform rebels against him and incapacitates the Flash while Prism finds herself sealed inside a bag of unending darkness. Elsewhere, Argent and Nightwing engage several of Hayes' sentries but manage to get away. Nightwing begins seeing visions of Batman but knows that this is just another of Hayes' tricks. Hayes himself finally makes an appearance and manages to distract the heroes long enough for him to get the drop on them. In another corridor, Arsenal and Jodo try to determine the layout of the entire facility. Jodo puts a thermal charge into one of Arsenal's crossbow bolts, and Roy fires it into a chamber wall. Jodo sees an image of his fellow Titans captive, but is worried when he sees no sign of Argent. Argent then appears before him, but this is just another of Hayes' illusions. Arsenal is unable to warn him as he is crippled by visions of his old days as a heroin addict. Meanwhile, the Atom manages to find Omen. He sets her free, and Omen teleports them both to Hayes' command center, where he has now collected together all the captured members from both teams. Hayes attacks Omen and tears her mask free. The Titans all gasp in shock as the face of Omen is finally revealed. But you gotta wait till next issue.
That's right. Yeah, so this one was good. Again, super nasty. They had to go through the sewage.
I know.
One thing. So what? Wally and Barry's outfits are so similar. I like. How could he even tell it was Barry's and not his?
I mean, some of the details, like the lightning bolts, were kind of different, and like at this point, Wally had like got his made out of like a different fabric. It's all like a more durable. His is actually almost looks like shinier, almost. It's not like
Oh, okay.
plain red that fabric. Yeah, I mean it's
Okay.
little details, but yeah, I mean,
Okay. Yeah. I guess you. I guess it does kind of look like a little shiny versus less shiny
and I think this is
in
the,
there, but yet
and I
it was
think this
kind of
is,
hard to tell.
and I think this is the suit where like Wally had like the blank white Batman eyes, so.
Oh,
You know how you
okay.
can never see Batman's eyes? Yeah, he kinda had that in that suit.
Okay.
Mm. And again, I think this was the issue where they they tried to give you reasons why Dick paired everyone up with which teenager, but I'm just like, I don't know. You're gonna take the Nightwing's gonna take the teenage girl who has the mad crush on him, and so,
Well, yes.
I don't know, unless Dick just felt responsible for her and didn't want her to get hurt, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, they gave you the justification, so it made sense.
Yes.
Well, I think maybe like even though she had the crush on him, all the other guys were being pretty rude about her. So
Oh yeah. Oh, you're a spoiled rich girl. Haha.
yeah. So
And again, I don't know. Again, I don't know if that's just like older men, like right, like trying to like rake for teenagers and stuff. Like, oh, they're so immature and they like pick on each other.
I mean, yeah, to be honest, the whole time, I mean, Dick looked fine the whole time because he wasn't really ever getting involved in the bickering. It was usually the other guys.
Exactly.
Um, so he was always kind of above, which is how they, portrayed him in the Teen Titans and stuff. So
But like Wally and the others, it does. I mean, like I said, I mean Wally was kind of written like this at this point, but it just seems weird that they're always like, "Oh, these kids don't have what it takes." And I'm just like, wasn't that what everyone was trying to say to you guys when you started?
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it did seem a little whatever.
Yeah. But again, I always like Dan Jurgens' art. I thought the art on these was good. And again, he did draw Nightwing not too long ago. But yes, first I hear Dan Jurgens, the first thing I think of is like he drew a lot of Superman. Well, he's over the years, but in the '90s, he drew a ton of Superman. Uh,
Oh, it was also a little bit funny when they're making comments and again, it was weird because it's hard to get a they're referencing things from the 60s, but obviously if the Titans are the age they are in the 90s, they can't actually be from the 60s.
yeah, that is weird because didn't Roy make a comment about '68 or something too?
Well, they're making comments about the Doors, and then the
Yeah.
kids don't are like, "Who?" Which I thought was kind of funny because okay, yeah, the Doors were in the 60s, but who the heck doesn't know who the Doors are? I mean,
Once again, yeah, I think that's just writers like, oh, look at these kids that.
well, I mean, I got what they were doing. I think it was supposed to kind of be funny and remind you that the Teen Titans were originally got started in the 60s,
Yeah.
but yeah, it given the age that the Titans were in this, they could not have been around in the 60s. I mean, the kids would have had to be born.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like sliding time stuff,
Right.
it's comic book aging, but
Right.
although I mean, just the thing not knowing the Doors, I mean, Kristen, I mean, we've talked about me and a couple people talked about this at work. There are I don't know, I want to say millennials or maybe even younger than that who don't know certain like people. You're like, oh, that should be obvious because that's like one of the examples I said. It's like, was it like a year ago, 2 years ago, something? In the last few years, there was something where was it Kanye West? Somebody did a collaboration with Paul McCartney, and like and like some of these young kids online were like, "Oh man, Kanye's gonna make this Paul guy famous or something." It's like, and again, I
That's
mean,
true.
and again, Paul McCartney way before our time, but you know who Paul
Right.
McCartney is, yeah.
That's true. I just know they use the Doors, and I feel like the Doors are one of those examples that kind of like transcend their time period because
Yeah.
they've made movies about them and stuff. And so I feel like people would know. But he was also just talking about the Doors. I mean, if you asked me to name anybody in the Doors other than Jim Morrison, I couldn't do it.
Yes. Uh, mm, yeah, I went back because I was looking. They did have a thing in here about Yeah, the Titans and them using the 60s slang. Due to the standards of time compression in the DC universe, the Titans would not have been born, much less active during the in-universe 1960s, making their flashback dialogue from this issue seem anachronistic.
Right, yeah. Like, it was fun because they're trying to bring back the
Oh, yeah.
actual time period, but yeah, based on that's what I was saying, is based on their ages. Yeah, this is the 90s. Yeah, they maybe would have been born in the 70s based on this.
That would have been funny if they would have been like, oh, yeah, in the DC universe, that's how people talked in the 80s. Daddy.
Yeah, I mean, in the DC universe, I don't think people talked like that in the 60s either. So,
All right. All right. Should we do the last one?
let's do it.
All right. Teen Titans number 15, January 1998. Then and Now, part 4 of 4. The Teen Titans and the original Titans stare in awe as the face of Omen is finally revealed. Lilith Clay. Lilith is an empath and an ally of the original Teen Titans as well as the new Teen Titans. The assembled heroes also learn that Lilith is the daughter of Lauren Jupiter and as such is also the half-sister of Gerard Jupiter, aka Hayes. Hayes' hatred for Lilith is equal to his hatred of the other Titans, but he also recognizes her as a source of power. Through Lilith, Hayes would be able to channel her psychokinetic powers in order to create illusions so elaborate that they actually become part of the fabric of reality. He is still, however, hampered by the neglect that his father has visited upon him over the years and continues to avenge himself against him by tormenting Lauren Jupiter's newest charges, the Teen Titans. He teases the heroes with images of their deepest desires. Arrow sees himself succeeding his mentor, Green Arrow, while Prism finds herself reunited with her virtual family. Other Others, however, continue to suffer the torture of their worst nightmares. The Atom feels the full impact of being rejected not only by his ex-wife, Jean Loring, but also by his former colleagues in the Justice League. Tapping into Omen's memories and psyche, Hayes summons forth images of every villain the Titans have ever fought and sets them upon the heroes. While the heroes are distracted battling the illusions, Hayes addresses his father, demanding to know, "Why won't you love me?" Lilith tries to intercede on Lauren's behalf, but Hayes throws her from the tower of his compound. Fortunately, Arsenal fires a grappling arrow that enables her to slide down to safety. With the psychic connection between Hayes and she severed, Hayes is now vulnerable. Jodo leaps forward and punches Hayes, and all of his illusions begin to disperse. As they fight, Hayes grabs a hold of one of his gas containers, threatening to go nuclear. Arsenal fires an incendiary arrow in their direction. The top of the tower explodes in a cloud of flame. Jodo remains inside the inferno to ensure Lauren Jupiter's safety. However, even with his own thermal powers, he is not impervious to the intense heat. Jupiter is saved, but at the cost of Jodo's life. That was funny when he called up those illusions of every villain the Titans fought because they were just like, okay, it's everyone and Trigon. Okay.
Yeah.
Looking for any big notes. I don't see any big notes in this. All right. Yeah. So what did you think about that origin for Lilith, that she's actually Lauren Jupiter's daughter?
I mean, I guess whatever. Why not?
Yeah, retconned it. Oh yeah, these two characters we introduced in the 60s. Yeah, they're related.
Yeah. I mean, her origin was always kind of murky, so I guess that worked.
I was gonna say I don't know if I ever read that or if I don't remember. How did she like come to join the team? Did she just like show up in the middle of an adventure and they're just like, oh, we'll make you a Teen Titan?
I forget, but yeah,
Okay.
kind of.
Probably like that, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's how it went, yes.
It's the 60s. It's like, hey, you have powers. Why don't you join our team? But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes those retcons and stuff just seem weird to me. But I guess they're, it's like no one was doing anything with Lauren Jupiter, so I guess they're just like, we can make a,
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing that disappointed me the most with it was Lauren Jupiter back in original times was supposed to be this great guy, and now he gets retconned into like oh yeah, he was a great guy, except he's a deadbeat dad. So you're like, oh, so he's not a great guy.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like anytime you do a retcon like this, yeah, it's usually to throw dirt on somebody. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they, and they never really gave us an explanation, did they? Where it's like, oh, well, why did he kind of abandon his son? But
I think they tried to give the whole one like my parents got divorced and your mom took you away sort of thing. So it was a little weak.
Yeah. Yeah, because wasn't Lord Jupiter a rich man? It's like, oh yeah, I couldn't find you. Oh really?
Right. Also, your kid went to a private boarding school. So like,
Yeah, you have money.
yeah, didn't you know he was there? Couldn't you like go visit him at school?
Or it's like, say you don't know where he's at. I mean, even in the 60s, you could have hired like a private investigator or something.
Yes. For sure.
And then
For sure.
and then they killed one of the Teen Titans.
Yeah, that's Jodo, right?
Yep.
And so that seemed a little.
I guess they were just I don't know. I guess it's a new character. We can do it.
Yeah, but it's like, why do you have to kill the black guy?
Oh, yeah.
It's like classic horror movie tropes.
I was waiting for him to say, "I'll be right back." Oh, but I wonder if the writing was on the wall that they were gonna like kind of reboot again and bring back the original Titans because this was the cover date on this was January 1998, and
Yeah, how
also
much longer did this book go?
I think it went to 24, I think, but JLA Titans is December 1998. So at the end by the end of
Okay.
the year, we're gonna get JLA Titans #1.
Okay. Yeah.
So I wonder if they knew or they were just like wanted to shake things up.
I don't know. Excellent questions all.
Mm. So yeah, final thoughts on this.
I mean, yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been wanting to read this for a while, and I'm glad I finally gave myself the excuse to read it. So
Yeah, I wonder if they were trying to drum up more interest in the book. And if that's
probably
why
by bringing in the original Titans, I think that's of course that's
I feel like that has kind of, and obviously I'm not necessarily a good example of this, but a lot of times people like the familiar, and I feel like the Titans versions that don't have as many um, familiar people in them don't do as well.
yeah. Again, people usually like classic versions, but I mean, Marvel and DC both do this, where like, you know, lineups always change, and it's always like, it's like, oh, well, we'll keep 2 to 3 originals, and then I don't know if it's just the art or whoever the writer likes at the time, or
Yeah, and I think that makes sense. I mean, because when the next Teen Titans to go along a long time was the one that got started in the 2000s. And I think part of what made that one successful is a lot of those characters were familiar because they kind of upgraded Young Justice to the Teen Titans. And then they kept, I think, didn't they keep Beast Boy and Starfire and Cyborg and maybe Raven
Raven. Yeah,
sometimes on the team too?
yeah. Oh yeah. Those, yeah, that one, yeah. Because and again, it was like it was Tim Drake Robin. Everyone's of course there's going to be a Robin on Teen Titans, of course. I mean, it wasn't like there was characters people weren't familiar with, and
Right,
Impulse.
that's what I was saying because they particularly gotten familiar with them in Young Justice because it was like Connor and
Oh yeah, and like Tim and Impulse and even Superboy had their own books already too, so like people were
yeah,
familiar with them through those too. Yeah, and
yeah.
again, And again, Bart literally becomes the new Kid Flash in that Titans series. So,
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
but even before that, Devin Grayson's Titans book, I mean, that went 50 issues.
Right. I think though that's the one that Jeff Johns started, that Teen Titans. I mean,
Yes.
that one went into like 100 something. So that actually went longer than the original Teen Titans, although I don't know if it went quite as long as New Teen Titans
You know
slash
what?
New
You know what?
Titans.
I don't think it went into the hundreds, but it got close. Like I think
Oh, did it?
it might have went to like was it like 90 some issues? Maybe I mean it
Well,
got.
let's
Oh
find
no,
out.
no! It might have went to actually 100. Okay, I'm trying to remember because they might have actually just like ended it for New 52. That's what I'm.
Yeah, I think probably.
Yeah, because it probably would have went longer, but the whole damn New 52.
Oh, well, I see Teen Titans, the one 2003 to 2011. It says it's 102 issues, but I don't know
Oh,
if
you know
that
what? There
means
might
it
be
went to 102 or it
there might
might
be
count like specials and
there
stuff.
might be annuals and stuff in there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it looks like you're right. It looks like it stopped at 100.
Yeah, and then looking now, but yeah, because that's probably like 100 issues and 2 annuals, something like that. Yeah, it's been a while since I read that too.
Yeah, because in part of Teen Titans, um, Damien visits it, and sometimes Tim is Red Robin in it.
Oh yeah, towards the end of that Titan series, yeah, that was when Tim was Red Robin. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, that one went the second longest because then Teen Titans, New Teen Titans went into
Yeah, New Titans went to like 100 and I was like, might be 130 or something, maybe.
yeah.
Oh,
So that would be long.
the cover of that 2000 series, Teen Titans '89. It's just Damien sitting in a chair, and it says, "Meet the new boss?" Question mark.
Yeah. It's a very spot on,
Oh
very
yeah,
spot on.
oh yeah, because that was the whole thing with Tim. Because I know Tim was sad for the longest time because that's that Titan series. Remember when we covered the Infinite Crisis stuff and Connor got killed, and so yeah,
Yeah, it's in that version of Teen Titans where
yeah,
he like is trying to resurrect Connor and
yeah.
like kisses Cassie while they're like in the lab surrounded by Connor goop.
Nothing says romance like the remains of your dead ex-lover.
Yeah. Teenagers.
Teenagers. Damn hormones. All right. Anything else?
I think that's good.
All right. Yes. All right. So next time, of course, kids. Yeah, we're gonna be at episode 200 because I tried to schedule this. So 199 was this arc, and then episode 200 is, of course, JLA Titans with basically everyone who's ever been a Titan who's alive and a bunch of Justice Leaguers. So yes, we're gonna cover that, and it started the whole Devin Grayson run of Titans. So we're going to cover that. And then, Kristen, to episode 201, we're going to do one more episode of Earth 2 Dick Grayson. Justice League
Awesome.
Justice League of America 135 through 137. So
Ooh, a 3-parter, yeah.
yes. And then what's that?
Stoked.
And then like 4 episodes for like the 4 episodes after that, we're going to do some Batman and Robin issues.
Sounds awesome.
With Dick Batman.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. So some Dick and Damien stuff. Yeah. All right. Then, of course, yes, always stay tuned to us for reviews of new issues. So,
yeah, coming up soon.
All right. So, yeah, send us all your thoughts, kids. And again, I know we're going to have at least one guest next time. We might have 1 or 2 others. So, yes, we'll have some guests here. So, yes, it's going to be a nice big celebration. Email us your thoughts. JLA Titans, CapesandLunatics at gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can find all things Capes and Lunatics, episodes, social media, merchandise, the Patreon. Please subscribe. Find everything at tubespace.io/CapesandLunatics Podcast Network. That's tubespace.io/CapesandLunatics Podcast Network. And of course, celebrate episode 200 by going on Amazon and picking up Dick Grayson Boy Wonder. Oh, man, if I ever need to get some prizes, I'll be like, wait, I'm gonna ask you a question, and the answer will be a Dick Grayson Boy Wonder.
It's like a test.
Exactly. Hey, we'll make you work. You work for it. All right, man. Oh man, that would be a good prize. That would be like you have to spend money to earn this prize. So yeah, it'd have to be something good. Although Dick Grayson Boy Wonder, a reward in itself. All right, kids. Thank you for joining us again. Come back next week. Episode 200. Time. I'm like, man, it just seems like we did episode 100, but now we're at 200 already.
Time flies.
Time flies when you're not doing Rick Grayson.
It does. True that.
Even like the lowest issues of anything else, it's like it's still better than Rick Grayson.
Absolutely.
The darkest of times. So you thought the pandemic was bad, kids. We had it rough before the pandemic. All right, kids. But for enough of that nonsense, come back next week for 200. Until then, join us same wing time.
Same wing channel.
The Nightwing News. The last episode starting with a 1.